What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So what I want to discuss today, first off, one thing that I want to really touch on are these $1,000 monthly checks, because we're now seeing a new lawmaker, a Democrat, promise these to people that are making less than $75,000. Now, I really want to address this. I also want to address why additional stimulus really matters at this point. And then at the end of this video, I want to explain how all this stuff is almost being hurt because Democrats' plan today actually derailed. And I want to address what happened there. So if you have any questions whatsoever, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. Also, make sure you go ahead, hit that like button. It does help out the channel, and consider subscribing so you never miss an update. But let's get into the update for today. Now, another Democrat did promise $1,000 monthly stimulus checks. We will address that in just a minute. The first thing I want to do is address why additional stimulus really matters so much at this point. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to explain how Democrats' plan pretty much got completely derailed earlier on today. So, why is additional stimulus so important, and why does it matter? Here's what I can tell you. Additional stimulus checks from the federal government are likely not going to happen like we've seen in the past. We could easily see the child tax credits come back, but those only help children and families. We could see additional stimulus to businesses, but that only helps the business and the employees working for that business. We could also see stimulus in the form of student debt forgiveness, but that only helps out people that had student debt. Now, all of this stuff is going to stem off of the Democrats' plan, which got pretty much derailed earlier on today, and I will address that in a minute. But what I can tell you is that millions of Americans are looking for additional help. We aren't seeing evictions anywhere close to where they were predicted to be, and so that's a very good thing. And that has created, a little bit of help. But millions need additional help because it's not just housing that they need help with. According to reports today, we know food has increased in price. It's shocking that it came out today, but food has increased in price. And the plan to bring prices back down based on the Biden administration trying to do their part, well, experts say this isn't going to happen overnight. So this rise in food prices will continue to rise probably for another few months before we see it somewhat level off and then finally come back down. But again, by that time, people will be out of money. So here's what we know. Many states are currently putting together plans to provide more assistance to their residents. This is going to come through things like, and it's not going to be a typical stimulus check. Okay. Now, this could be done through and when I say a typical stimulus check, I mean for the entire United States. But states and counties and cities, they could do a stimulus check. We've seen it with California and Florida and Philadelphia, or in Pennsylvania. We've seen it in Colorado. We know there's many cities that are offering this. We at this point, according to multiple reports, it's more likely that we see utility assistance, more broadband assistance, even additional nutrition assistance. This is both for people in school and people that are just down on their luck. And so that's what we are seeing, is that if it's not, let's say, a $200 stimulus check, if we can get monthly recurring assistance, whether it's to pay a utility payment, water, sewer, gas, right? Doesn't matter. If it's for something like internet to help children continue to learn if they do have to do remote learning, and even food. These are all things that could add up to more than $100, $200, even $300 a month. So, according to experts, they say that would be much bigger, and that would be a greater benefit than just a stimulus check and handing over money. But here's what I can tell you. This truly matters because more and more residents are looking for one reason to leave the states. In California, they had a huge exodus of people that left the state early on in the pandemic because of taxes and lockdowns. But reports indicate that the damage could have been much worse if they didn't promise additional stimulus checks to those same people. And the truth is that when it comes to living and working in a specific state, the amount of assistance or almost guaranteed help is really one of the factors that determines whether somebody goes to that state or not. But with that said, I want to talk about what one Democrat has done, what she promised, and this promise won her a special election for the Florida 20th District. New Representative McCormick. She promised universal basic income of $1,000 per month to people making less than $75,000 a year. Now, when asked, how hard is it going to be to get $1,000 a month when the child tax credit payments were going out to millions of families in 2021, but those didn't get extended? Well, her reply was this, and I quote, "It's going to have to be consistent. The child tax credit was for children and families, but then seniors were left out. And looking at the realities of COVID, as we go forward, looking at the housing market, community members are going to start demanding help." Now, this is the reason why I really want to bring this up, because of that statement right there. This is what the American people want. Because when you ask somebody, and let me ask you, and you can answer this in the comment section below, if I were to offer, let's say, $1,000 to one person here on the channel, would you guys like that, or would you rather have $100 go to 10 people? The reason I ask this, and maybe that's something I'll do in the next week or so, but the reason I ask this is because nobody wants to be the only person getting a check. Nobody wants to be the only one. Experts are actually saying that this has always been the case, because when it's just one person receiving a gift or a check, they almost feel like they did something wrong, that everybody is looking at them. So what this representative isn't saying, she is saying that it's quite simple. Seniors were left out before, and the only people getting checks before were children and families. So we need to fix that. And this is what I've been saying all along, is it doesn't matter if it's just children and families, because that's going to create, well, for one, additional inflation. But the other thing is, it creates a very mismatched economy, where one group of people is doing fairly well because they're getting checks. Well, the other group is down here like, hey, what about us? So it creates a lot of issues. But this is one of the reasons I wanted to bring this up is, number one, do I think this is going to be pushed through? I don't. $1,000 a month, pretty expensive. But this is going to bring up new ideas, new talking points. And me personally, I think that's what we need. So let me address how Democrats' plan that they recently had, or conjured up, how this completely got derailed earlier today. Earlier today, the House passed a bill for a voting rights bill. This was actually passed 220 to 203, pretty much along party lines. Well, about an hour before President Biden was supposed to come to Capitol Hill and speak, Senator Kyrsten Sinema, she spoke to the Senate and said she wouldn't support a change in the filibuster rule. So, the reason why I bring this up, this is all anybody needed to hear, was just one Senate Democrat didn't support this, didn't support the idea, and that's all it took. Now, that's not stopping President Biden. He is moving forward at this time. Senators Manchin and Sinema are supposed to be speaking with President Biden to figure out a way how to move forward with this bill, how to move forward and pass the voting rights bill. According to reports, the election reform bills are very close to failing unless President Biden can convince Senator Manchin and Sinema to support a rules change. So, what I can tell you, it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next few days, because Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer wanted a vote on this on Monday. So we'll see what happens, but as always, I promise I will keep you updated and fill you in on all latest news and updates. Again, just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.